Good morning, everybody. Welcome again to Adobe Live. This is day 2 of painting and drawing with Kelly Malka on Adobe Fresco. Very excited to have you here again. We're working on the Create Waves campaign for Ocean Agency. And just wanted to let everybody know real quick, if you missed the last set of challenges, go ahead and check out the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges replay with Voodoo Val every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We have Cody Bear here in the chats moderating for us. Hi, Cody. Let's see, we got Adora Johannes, Norshko. Let's see, Derek, sorry, my Zoom keeps messing with me. Biola O, I know you were here yesterday. Rick Adams. And yeah, I'm very excited to have everybody here. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and switch over to our Behance feed at b.net/Adobe Live. So there you can interact with us and we can see your chat and you guys can ask any questions your heart desire for Kelly. So hi, Kelly. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Do you just want to kind of do a day 1 recap and then kind of what we're doing today?
Yes. So yesterday, I realized as I was doing this, I should have saved a layer of what it looked like yesterday, but this was like 20% full. And yesterday I just kind of went crazy and added a ton of line work. It probably hurts your eyes, but hopefully with color, it's going to help. I have a little area right here that I'm going to fill in as well. And I'm getting ready to add color. And so I'm going to, well, that's for later. What I'm going to do is I picked out some cool images that I like to find a lot of swipe and kind of pick from there and create a color palette, especially when I'm trying to do something in nature. I want to kind of find those moments and really make it feel authentic. So today I'm basically going to focus on coloring, and I'll kind of show my process there and just creating a palette. And usually I just, very simply start with just the eyedropper, picking out little bits of color that I like, which I know is a, popular way to do it, but I just like to build my palette. And then I don't really always end up using all the, colors that I end up picking, but it's a good exercise to just, start building the palette that I think could be, nice and work together to kind of represent this drawing a little better. A lot of times with images, though, I find that sometimes the colors I pick can be a little muddy. So then I'll just use the color wheel kind of to, either saturate the color that I pick or just adjust. So It's kind of I'm not so precious with it, but I kind of like to do this with almost all my drawings. I find a bunch of images and then I end up I drop in some color, especially when it comes to nature, because we already have so much beautiful natural colors coming in. Why should I guess?
Yeah, I don't know how many bad color schemes or color palettes you're going to find in nature. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but usually they all go together pretty well.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. And usually I I like to look at like photographers, and um I look at, classic Pinterest, and even I feel like there are a lot of really cool Instagram, like nature photographers, all that. So there's just like a million ways to find images that could be useful in like something like this.
Do you find yourself creating any type of mood board? Do you kind of save it to a file, or are you just kind of pulling images onto your desktop, or your like what's kind of your process for that as far as organizing it?
Um, in terms of like finding imagery, I'm like a huge um swipe, and like I love to look at different images of people and color schemes and nature and all that. And I have a lot of, Pinterest boards of
Okay.
different things that I'm constantly collecting.
Mm-hmm.
So I organize it on there, and it's not really like per project. I feel like I have a lot of boards that I'll reference later. Um, Depending on like I just look at similar ones. I'll have like a people Pinterest board, nature. I have sometimes body positions, because sometimes I just need a reference to know how someone sits this way or sits that way.
Right,
And
right.
I have, color palette boards. I have, fashion boards. I have a ton of different things that I look at. So I try not to limit it per project. I'm just constantly collecting. Um, but yeah. So this looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean that's a beautiful reference you have right there.
Yeah, I love this. Show layer. Okay, so I have that one.
So you just have these on separate layers in this file, right? These are just kind of
Yeah, I just pulled them and was just hoping that I can just pick some colors. Obviously, I don't use all of them. I just like to have like a lot available as I'm
right as you're
uh,
going.
yeah. So yeah. Okay. So
With Adobe Fresco, I'm just curious because I haven't used it as much as Photoshop. Is it just an import button, or is it something that to bring files in on your
yeah,
iPad?
it's right here. It's under the eyedropper, and then you have camera, photos, files, and Creative Cloud. So you
Okay,
can
cool.
just import from there.
Okay, super easy.
Yeah. And so usually what I do is I mean, this is probably a no-brainer, but I create a layer underneath um, my main drawing.
Uh-huh.
And usually, since Fresco has like some really cool um, brushes that you know, I know I've mainly played with the, basic hard variable, but they have a lot of different ones, especially I like the dry kind of texture. And it's fun to play with some of the textures, and they even have some blending modes that you can play with. So I've kind of experimented a lot with these, especially in the like coloring in phase. I do experiment a lot more than the like drawing phase, just because it feels like a lot freer to do that. So I kind of go back and forth, and I end up usually using the dry media soft chalk, but I still like to try all the other ones just to see maybe like something feels different or cooler in this moment. I just like to try them all.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and also there are blending modes that I really like too, that I end up using towards the end. Like even that's cool. But sometimes I'll mix it up towards the end when I'm shading things. But yeah, right now it's just like me going back and forth, just trying to see maybe like even that's pretty cool. It's kind of a fluid process, I feel like, when I'm figuring out how I want to color it in.
Yeah, it's almost something you have to see it on
Yeah,
your work and kind of be able to make that decision.
yeah, you just want to make sure it feels like it fits the drawing, because there are times when I just end up using the inky brush to fill in, but I like to test them. Like I like to test a bunch out before, which might look like might make me look a little crazy, but I just like to like look at the different options. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with my original, but I'll probably add some other
Now,
textures in there.
are these default brushes? Did you get these from a set? Does this come with Fresco?
These come with Fresco, and
Okay.
I haven't imported any new brushes just because I like the ones that are available.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these are just from Fresco. And what I usually end up doing, well, and I'll do it on it. Yeah, I probably will use that. I usually end up staying on one color for a bit and just coloring things in this one color all around the canvas. But sometimes what I like to do, let's see, is I like to use like, different greens in one area.
Mm-hmm.
So add different kind of shading and all that. The main color I need to tackle is the blue color because that's going to be everywhere. Um, so I usually like to start off pretty basic. So you can see like there's some,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably gonna start with the blues. So this is the main monster to tackle because this is gonna be everywhere. But yeah, so this is kind of my process. And then I kind of go.
Hi, Fairy. Hi, Fairy Utumo. Clever Devlin says the design here is so nice. Definitely agree. Yes, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is
go ahead.
No. This is just me kind of figuring it out as I go. And testing some stuff out. Please go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying hi to the chat.
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah, they answered that. Yeah, Fresco and Procreate are definitely different programs, both very cool programs, but we are working in Adobe Fresco today.
Yeah. What I've found different about Fresco and Procreate is that Fresco has a more advanced way of using texture and blending. It feels more like, when you at least like for me, when I was using Photoshop to draw, it feels a little closer to that, where you have a lot more options.
Right.
While I find Procreate to be a great starter, like Adobe Fresco kind of takes it to another level if you want to like really do some, detailed drawing and really play with texture and blending and all that.
Yeah, I haven't used it as much. It's just watching this and seeing a few other videos. I feel like I've got to get more into it. I do so much work on Photoshop, so I'm sure. Is it a pretty natural transition, or the tools kind of like how you use it similar?
Yeah, or? as long as you draw on the iPad already, like it's a pretty easy transition because
right.
I mean, it's very similar to Photoshop. It's just more so getting comfortable drawing on an iPad, but which you already know how to do. So
right.
I remember just feeling like it looked so much like Photoshop when I first got the iPad that I was getting like confused as to where I'm like, oh wait, the eyedropper is usually here, but that just took me a second because it wasn't a desktop, not like
Right, right.
but it, just like all things on the iPad, it just takes a bit of trying a few times before you get fully used to it.
Yeah, did you kind of just jump into it and learn as you go, just using previous experience with programs, or did you watch any tutorials, or did anybody help you out?
No, I just jumped into it, and if I had any questions, Google helped me out. But it feels pretty like, especially like, again, like I said, as someone who's been using Photoshop and you know been drawing on my iPad as well, like it just felt like a pretty natural and intuitive transition to it. So yeah, not too bad, especially if you're, already just used to drawing digitally. It's pretty easy to transition to it.
I just want to take a second. I forgot to mention that since it is day 2, around the 90-minute mark, we're going to do an artist spotlight. So if you guys want to stick around for that as well, it should be pretty cool. And you guys can also submit to see who you want to have in the artist spotlight from the community. So yeah, so around 90 minutes, we're going to go ahead and do that. Just wanted to mention it. And also, if you're on YouTube right now watching the live stream, come on over to Behance, b.net/Adobe Live. Here you can communicate with us in the chat, and we're here doing moderation. So if you guys have any questions about what's going on screen, or any questions for Kelly, please come join us over here. And again, these aren't vector brushes, right? This is all rasterized.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of like what we were saying yesterday, like I'm more of, I prefer drawing in pixel than vector, but that's just because like that's what I'm used to. But of course, like we were kind of saying, if you end up having to make a really large file, you just want to make sure that you don't lose the information, which you can do with sizing and all that, but it's just something to consider as you're working.
Right. And I think we were saying yesterday with Adobe Illustrator's live mask or live trace has gotten so good that it really picks up a lot of these details. And you honestly could live trace this whole thing and it'd probably come pretty close.
Probably the outline, but the texture, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, the texture is going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, usually texture on Illustrator or any vector is a little bit of like a long shot, but you could totally get this outline very easily on a vector. That's why a lot of people are confused that I don't draw in Illustrator, because they're like, it already looks kind of like a vector, but
right. But I think that's what makes it unique. Also, like you said, that's going to have those like little wavy little moments, or like it's not perfect. I think sometimes we get caught up with digital to try to make everything so perfect. It can kind of take some of the human side out of it. So yeah. I like it this way better, because you're working those lines. It's not just this one stroke. You're going in there and going back in and kind of making it exactly how you want it.
Yeah. I worked a lot in Illustrator, and I do love it for a lot of things, but again, like just drawing is probably my preferred choice. Drawing with pixels.
So when you're painting right now, is this a same color but less opacity? Is it a pressure sensitive? Are you dropping in different colors here?
It's pressure sensitive, but what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a lighter color and just kind of going over the darker one, because it creates, and then not pressing too hard, so it creates this kind of like natural fade, which I think is kind of cool. Uh,
Definitely.
but yeah, you just kind of all these, like I was saying earlier, like the textures in Fresco are a lot more sophisticated than other drawing apps, that it looks kind of realistic and blending. So
Hmm.
whenever I draw in Fresco, I try to use the textures because um, they're really nice and then really naturally blend in a subtle way. So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, I think we're pretty lucky as artists. The just textures across the board and so many different um, programs are just incredible now. It's hard to tell sometimes if something's digital. Like I'll be looking at it, I'm like, I think it's digital, but I
Yeah,
mean, some of the watercolors and the oils, and you can just
yeah,
like you'll have those canvas textures. It's pretty amazing.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
And so I see you have some clippy masks going.
Clipping
What do we
this?
got? Do you have any clipping? Or maybe I'm looking at that wrong.
I don't. I just have my color layer, and my drawing, my like
Oh,
outline.
okay.
And then these are the
Okay.
images. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay. I see.
it's a pretty basic, oops. It's a pretty basic drawing, honestly. Like drawing setup. Like
Mhm.
I'm not really masking anything. Um, but yeah. So it's pretty basic.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's usually how I do most of my drawings, in this kind of way. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, can move on to a different.
There's so much to look at. Every time you're moving, I'm like, oh yeah,
As
there's another little guy.
yeah, it's very busy.
But this is a good. I mean, this is good for a lot of people to see how you can have kind of a lot of strokes, and then you figure out where to rest the eye. You know, where are those resting places? And these big shapes are so important for this.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I'm assuming too, as you design it with color, that's also going to be a major factor.
yeah, and also sometimes what I'll do is like I'll have all these details and then sometimes I'll pare back as I color in and see if there's a place where there could be a bit more of a pause or um so that's another thing I try to think about.
So are you going to be using this texture for the entire piece?
I'm probably for the first like layer of color,
Okay.
yes. And then I'll try to do some blends and layer later. I just kind of like to keep it consistent and then like add
Mm-hmm.
those little touches late at the end.
Right.
Uh, but and usually when I'm doing something like this, I take the color and make it just a little darker to add some shadow.
Oh, nice. And do you keep this on the same layer as well?
So I did two layers. One layer is the water, and this is a
Mm-hmm.
second layer so that I can just like not mess with the other, water texture.
Right. Right.
So I usually do 2 layers of color.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, so 2 so let's see.
Reverb Mike says perfect doesn't exist, even in Illustrator. That's true. I don't know. You could have probably asked some graphic designers, though. They would not say that that's true. But
yeah.
some logo design using some crazy mathematics to build it, but
Just erase some of the blue that goes over.
Tamika Grooms asks, he said, you may have talked about this already in the first stream, but what inspires your work?
Oh my gosh. Just because there's a lot. I don't even know where to start. I'm inspired by I always describe myself as like a fan. I'm like a fan of so many things. So I'm really inspired. I said kind of yesterday, I'm inspired by movies and like treatments of shows and art direction. I Even when I was like working in advertising, I got to work on some treatments, and like just watching a photographer or a director kind of do their thing and create a world is like really cool to me. So I love watching movies and shows and kind of like being immersed in a world. And even sometimes I'll just kind of like how I did with the images above, I'll like grab a screenshot from a movie that I think is beautiful and then use the eyedropper tool and use the colors from there. I'm also very obviously inspired by nature. Again, growing up in California has just been like, I feel really lucky to have grown up in California because I was just always, immersed in nature without even trying. So being able to have access to that at all times has been a huge inspiration point for me. And I didn't really talk about this yesterday, but just my heritage, I didn't really realize until I was older that I really I grew up French Moroccan. My parents are from Morocco, and our lives were very colorful, and our house had a lot of Moroccan, art and furniture, and our food was Moroccan. And when I would visit my family, we would partake in a lot of Moroccan traditions, and those were very special. And I don't think I really consciously realized how much that influenced my art until I got older and I started to actually learn more about Morocco in a concrete way, not just from my, family. So definitely inspired by that as well, like just my upbringing and my culture of, Moroccan heritage, and the art there is like very detailed, very vibrant. And it's not something I realized was, a part of my, inspiration point until I was able to like consciously be like, oh, wait, I do a lot of stuff like that, which was cool to kind of realize that you can, subconsciously kind of be inspired by something.
Yeah, I'm taking a quick look at quick Google search, and yeah, just the tile work, and I can see it already.
Yeah.
So there's so much detail, and the way it all kind of works together and balances itself. And like you said, very vibrant colors.
Yeah, very vibrant.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like how you said, there's some influence there, whether you thought about it or not. But
yeah, for sure. And we were, I grew up very immersed in that. Even in LA, we had such a big community of it.
Hmm.
And I just didn't think twice about it because I was just like, oh, yeah, this is my family. And then once I went to college and kind of, immersed myself in different communities, I was like, oh, wow, like I was really immersed in this community and didn't really, not realize, but didn't realize its impact on me until later in my life. And I got to travel a lot as a kid to see my family that lived over there. So that travel too was huge. So a lot of influences, you could say. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, kind of taking from pop culture and then from your own culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the great thing about life these days is you have so much access to art and music and movies and TV and cultures. So it's awesome. Especially
Yeah.
the traveling part. I think we all wish we could travel all the time.
Yeah, I tell my mom all the time, thank you so much. I was very lucky. I got to travel from a really young age, but it was just so important to my mom that I knew her parents and her side of the family, obviously. But
Hmm.
um I'm like very selfishly thankful that I had those experiences at an early age because I think I had a not to sound, like annoyingly or condescending or something, but I think I had an appreciation for the like world at a very young age,
Hmm.
and how different and big it was really early. And I think that really inspired me, um, subconsciously, at least, I think, or consciously.
Did your parents grow up in LA or did they move here or
No.
when did your family?
So my parents were born and raised in Morocco. My mom was in Marrakesh and my dad was in Casablanca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then my mom moved to France to study medicine, and her all her siblings moved there, but everyone stayed but her. She met my dad in Spain, and then they moved to Montreal for a bit, and then moved to LA. Like my whole dad's side moved to LA together. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, so when they moved to America when they were 28 or 29. So um yeah, they spent a good chunk, about half their lives not here. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Like,
definitely
yeah.
cool. It's definitely cool.
I mean, it's like with anything. The more experiences you have, the more you travel, the more you realize how different we are and also how similar everyone is. And
Yeah.
it's kind of great having those experiences.
Have you been to Morocco?
I've never been to Morocco.
I feel
That's
every artist needs to go. That's such a like easier said than done. It's so far away and COVID right now,
yeah,
but like it's like such an artist heaven. It's
yeah.
so cool.
I mean, I met people from there. I spent some time in France,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's there's obviously that connection that they have. Um,
Spain too. Spain has a lot of Moroccan influence.
mhm,
Just because it's like right there. But
right.
um yeah, I'm kind of like I love it there. It's just really cool. Um but I always tell like artists and even people who are in like my friend, she does a lot of like she does landscaping and farming, just like the
Hmm.
nature and the plants there. It's just quite beautiful.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it sounds awesome. Yeah, I know we're stuck in our rooms. No. Next one we're gonna go to Morocco.
Yeah.
Do a live stream from Morocco.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Let's see. Reverb Mike says The Naked Lunch is in Tangiers. That is true. It's a very interesting book and film. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
The what?
The Naked Lunch.
No, I haven't.
Oh man, I'm blanking on the author, but very surrealistic book. You guys can chime in and chat if you remember the author's name. I'm totally blanking. But But yeah, really, really cool movie too.
The Naked Lunch.
The Naked Lunch. I think they made the film in, I want to say early 90s, late 80s. But scenes of it are in Morocco, or at least, sets that look like Morocco.
Yeah. Cool.
Let's see. Cool. So we're going toward some other colors here.
Yeah, I'm trying to maybe, add some of the palettes that I kind of started over here.
Mm-hmm. And did you save these colors when you eyedropped them? Or
yeah, so they're here.
Yeah, can you tell us really quick how you do that, just so people know if they're using a Fresco for the first time? Or
sure. So you do eyedropper. So let's say I'm doing this color, which I already have, but then you click on the color here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just press plus.
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
And then you can save your different libraries. Obviously I don't have fun names for my library, but you can save different libraries so that you can use them at a later time. Yeah,
it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's all pretty intuitive, especially if you're experienced with this.
Mm-hmm.
But takes a little bit always to get a little used to things. Let's see. Great.
Oh yes. Okay. Reverb Mike was reminding us it's William S. Burroughs who wrote that book.
Okay.
So let's see. Just wanted to remind everyone, if you're in the YouTube channel watching this, come on over to Behance. It's b.net/Adobe Live. There you can communicate with us on chat. We're not really watching the YouTube one. We're here at the Behance, b.net/Adobe Live. So if you have any questions for Kelly or just about Fresco, come on over.
I think my dog is having a dream.
Is he just like...
Yeah, he's just making little noises right now. He has a cone right now because he has a little rash, so he looks extra cute. Yeah.
So it's not the cone of shame, it's the cone of beauty.
Yeah, poor guy.
Oh, what kind of dog is it?
He's a Westie Pomeranian, I think. I adopted him last year. He's 9. He's he's a little old man.
Mm-hmm. Terrier mixes are adorable when they're old.
Yeah, he doesn't
kind of lost that insane energy, but they're just really well tempered.
Oh yeah, he's a tired man. He is not. Yeah, but he's he's super cute. He's just sitting right next to me and dreaming about something.
Maybe he's swimming in the ocean.
Yeah. No, he does not like the ocean. Or it's a nightmare for him.
He's like, I'm food for everything that's living there.
Yeah, he doesn't. He just sits on the sand when we go to the beach.
It's not a bad spot.
Yeah.
Oh, Clever Devlin had asked, you don't have to do this right away, but maybe at some point, could you show us the layers individually so that they can kind of see how it's working?
Sure. It's not very crazy. It's just this layer, which is the drawing layer. Then the one of the color layers, and then the bottom layer is a third color, and then all of the other ones are just my reference images. It's not as exciting as it seems. It's just like one full layer. I probably should have more layers, but I keep it pretty simple. Um, uh, I like to keep it kind of like this,
Mm-hmm.
just the 2 layers. Especially, I try to make. I'm trying to make another coloring book. I've made
Oh,
one
nice.
before, and when you do it like this, it's very easy to like just turn off the color layer and then just have it already ready to go, to be a coloring page. Um, so it's just another thing that I like to do.
Yeah, these are kind of perfect for coloring books,
Yeah.
because you've got that one strong line layer.
Yeah, that's usually what I like to have for the coloring book, is a really busy drawing to keep people, occupied.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe this one will go in the coloring book, honestly.
Oh man, I'm gonna get this name wrong. I apologize ahead of time. Mubinu Dula Arifin says a person is saying, "I am exceptionally good at being independent," and at the same time, she is thinking, "I am exceptionally good
Yeah,
at being alone."
yeah.
She's asking you, what did you mean by that?
Oh, that's my drawing. I mean, I have these like, especially um during COVID and in general, I feel like, and even before, a lot of people, we're gonna get deep here. A lot of people have
It's good. Let's go.
have, I'm like a very independent solo kind of person. And I think that's one of those, things, that word that people like to use a lot. And I think it's a compliment a lot of times, but I think like sometimes you could get so good at it that you're like, okay, I'm just like good at being by myself. It's not really about being independent. I'm just like self-sufficient at this point. And especially during COVID, I live alone, and I was just having that moment of like, oh yeah, I don't really need anyone, but that kind of probably means that I'm not just independent. I'm just pretty good at being by myself at this point because I've just been doing it for a while. And
Right.
what does that mean for me, and like the future of like, like who I allow in my space, and if I'm even capable of doing that at this point in my life. So I was just having one of those moments. And I like to kind of, that's from like a paradox series that I did. And I kind of like to, pose these questions where it's like open for interpretation for whoever, like whatever it
Mm-hmm.
makes them feel. But
Mm-hmm.
that was me in like that moment, kind of, oversharing my feelings. Uh,
That's what you're supposed to do. You're an artist.
yeah. And it's something I think about a lot, about like what it means to like be independent and what it means to be,
Mm-hmm.
like what's the difference, and um, when do you cross the line of like being a loner, um,
Right.
but that's just something I think about a lot.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of introspection during these last, gosh, it's almost like a year and a half now, huh?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think especially for people like yourself living alone, or people that already had jobs where actually it's probably more so for people who had jobs that they were going into an office and were constantly around people that
I,
this probably is the first time for a long time that they weren't doing those things and had to be alone.
well, I was working in an office up until COVID, honestly, because I quit my job like in
That's right.
January.
That's right. That's what you're saying.
So I only had a month. Like I my last week was like January 30th at my job. So I was not, used to working completely by myself. Um, so yeah, I also understand that feeling for people, um, about, working in an office and constantly being around people. I mean, I do like, that's also another thing that I was kind of contemplating in that drawing is that I do really like to be alone. So it's
Hmm.
like, what is the line, I guess? And I'm constantly thinking about like what the difference is, like how much do I like it because I'm just forced to do it, or is it because I'm good at it?
Yeah.
Existential crises at all
Yes.
times.
All times.
Yeah. But yeah, you have kids and stuff, so you're never alone.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like the extroverted introvert. I I recharge when I'm by myself. So
Yeah.
I need it, and I am lucky enough to have a space where I'm semi alone, right? I have my own private space in the office building that I work in. So there are those moments, but yeah, I mean, once you get married and have kids, you realize how precious that time is, and it's still
Yeah.
important to make that time. But yeah, I definitely don't. I don't get a choice for the most part.
Right. And that's that stage of life. But it's something I think about all the time. I also like, I didn't live alone till I moved here.
Hmm.
Um,
And
and
you were in San Francisco right before that?
yeah, and I lived with
Okay.
three other people. And
Yeah.
so, it was a lot of like that, contemplation of, all that stuff. Um, and yeah. And I also last year, I'm like a crazy person, but I fostered not all at once, but 12 dogs at different
Oh,
times. And that's how I got Max. So, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna, fill my space, my house with dogs because I love them so
yeah.
much.
You don't like being alone. You just don't like being around people.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I
Yeah.
love dogs so much. So I was
Oh
just
my
like,
gosh, dogs are the best.
yeah, I'll just foster one. Um, and then
Was
yeah,
that
then I
12 all
kept
at the same time, or?
no, 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 no. To be clear, it was not. It was sometimes two at the same time. No, that that I would have asked my friends to like,
Yeah.
maybe make a call about me, but if it was 12 at once, but yeah, it was very rewarding to foster puppers.
Are they usually? Is it just kind of any type of dog that's in that program, or is it usually elder
Um,
dogs? Or
any type. I had puppies, I had old dogs, I had dogs that came from all over. Very sad. Honestly, people are very mean to animals. Um, but yeah, and it was a really I'm still gonna be I still foster with Max,
Mhm.
with my dog, but because I'm traveling um soon, I haven't fostered in a
Right.
bit just because I've been in and out, but I will be soon. And Max is a very good foster brother because he's old and doesn't care and just lets them
Hmm.
chill. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah, it's very, I highly recommend anyone to foster. It's very rewarding and needed.
Yeah, that's who did you do it through? How did you get involved?
My older sister, who also lives in LA, is like also like me. We're both obsessed with dogs and she fosters. So when I moved here, she kind of like got me some contacts, and I did it through three different rescues, which was SoCal Animal Rescue, Dogs Without Borders, and Hollywood Huskies. And you just like, you're like, this is my house situation. I'm available
Hmm.
these times. These are the kind of dogs I get. Yeah. So, I mean, also like to anyone thinking about buying a dog, don't do it. Please adopt.
Oh, I know there's so many out there that need homes.
Yes.
Um,
And yeah, we don't need to breed dogs. It's very mean. Um,
yeah, I mean, usually the best ones are the mutts. I mean,
yeah.
health wise too. It's genetic diversity is everything.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, I mean, I just even with like this project, it's just like sometimes I'm like, why are we so evil to our like animals and ocean and nature? And it's just like, ugh,
Yeah,
we gotta be better.
it's people like that are abusive. It's because they're hurting, inside, and then they pass that along, sadly.
Yeah.
But
So it's a good reminder to just, be a good person and, take care of the things that we have already.
mm-hmm. Yeah, dogs are pretty amazing. I can't. There's nothing else like them.
Yeah, we don't deserve them.
They are adorable.
Yeah.
Norshko asked, how do you manage the separation when the dogs you foster get a new family?
So this is a question I get all the time. And I only had a really hard time with maybe 4 of the dogs. Not that I didn't love all of them, but some dogs, it's just like not a right fit. And they like, I had a dog, I live in an apartment, and I had a dog that was crazy energetic, and he needed a full yard and all that. So sometimes you're just like, okay, these dogs are going to be so much happier somewhere else. And it just feels good to watch them for a little and help them, find a home.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think also ever since I adopted Max, I feel a little better because I don't like, when I give back a dog, it's not like I'm alone after, or like don't have
I already
one.
kept one of you.
Yeah. So it feels, and Max is such a good dog that I'm like, I feel really lucky. But there are like a few dogs where I think about them, and luckily some of the people who adopt the dogs will like stay in touch with me, and I get to see them thriving, and it's really sweet. And I think that's what kind of makes it better, is that you kind of, if you are able to keep in touch, you see the dog thriving, that it really makes it worth it. So yeah, a lot of people ask me that, and I'm always like, I think like the ones that I fostered before Max were really tough because I didn't have him. But once I got Max, I'm like, okay, like I have the dog I was waiting for, and now we get to help other dogs and then see them thrive in places that are more suited for them. So you kind of have to look at it that way. But a lot of people who foster that I've talked to are like, I didn't think I could do it. And then, it's very rewarding to them. My older sister will cry every time she gives back a dog. I don't cry. Even though I'm sad, I don't do that. So she still does it, even though it makes her sad, because it's very rewarding. But yeah, I highly suggest, especially if you want to get a dog, I highly suggest you foster, because you get to see what you want and what you don't like, what fits your lifestyle. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want a puppy. And then they realize, oh God, that's like having a newborn baby. And now a lot of current shelters have a lot of puppies because people bought them thinking that they could handle it. And now there's a bunch of puppies in shelters. And so just, fostering is also a great way to see if you can actually handle a dog.
Right.
Anyway, I can talk about dogs all day because I'm obsessed, but.
Well, let's move from there, and let's do a quick recap of kind of what we're doing here and what we're looking at. And maybe after that, you could explain a little bit about Ocean Agency and the Create Waves campaign. Since we're talking about protecting animals and taking care of them, I think that's a good segue.
Yeah. So right now I'm illustrating a piece for the Ocean Agency partnership with Adobe. I have been part of their Create Waves campaign for a little bit now. And what they basically did was they partnered with artists to illustrate the 7 principles of ocean literacy, which you can look up. Um, and a lot of them are like, we're always connected to the ocean. The ocean is not fully explored. The ocean has a major impact on our climate crisis. It provides so much for humans, like jobs, water, oxygen. So the whole idea of the ocean agency is to be the like advertising agency for the ocean, representing the ocean. So the ocean is their client, and how do you spread knowledge for your client and protect your client and make sure your client is doing well, in kind of like a new way. So using art and using activist voices to kind of promote the ocean as if it's like, a client or like a person that you're trying to bring up, which I think is an interesting new approach to ocean activism. So that's what this piece is kind of about. I kind of took I don't remember the number, but I took one of the ocean literacy principles, and I wanted to kind of show like we're always connected and surrounded by the ocean, even when we're not, which is what this drawing is kind of about. So yeah.
Do you know what they're going to do with this drawing, or how it's going to be integrated into that? Or
so I mean, for this drawing, it's just for and like to share, and kind of what we've been doing is we've been sharing the artwork and then adding little blurbs of information. So I'm probably going to be sharing this with Ocean Agency, and then kind of giving some call to actions and things you can do below. A lot of things are just like, a lot of times, at least when I've worked with nonprofits, their biggest issue is getting people's attention. So I think with this work and with the Ocean Agency in general, the whole idea is like, let's get people's attention with these pieces, and then hopefully they'll stay to read and learn. So that's kind of the goal of everything that we've been doing since I started with them. But
yeah, I don't know if I asked, what was how did you get in touch with them? What was the
so it was through Adobe, and I've been really lucky to work with Adobe on so many different cool projects. A lot of projects have been cause or social issue based, and that's something I love to do. Anytime I get an opportunity to mix those two, I'm happy. So Adobe reached out because they were having this awesome partnership with Ocean Agency, and we're like, we feel like you'd be a really good fit. And I was like, yes, please. And that's kind of how it started. I've been really lucky to have such a good relationship with the Adobe team, and have done a lot of projects with Adobe, which has been awesome. Cool.
Yeah, Adobe has always been great. With my experiences with them as well. So
yeah, I'm not just saying that. It's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's a lot of really hardworking, nice people.
Yeah. I did even last year with Adobe Gen Create. I created this kind of call to action piece about, a lot of people last year were saying like, oh, could 2020 get any worse because there was all the fires and all that? And I'm like, and it was kind of like, it's not a 2020 problem. Like this is global warming and the climate change crisis. So they allowed me to just take a space within their platforms to kind of educate on that, especially in California. I just felt like very frustrated that people were blaming like 2020 on like, oh, we have fires, of course it's 2020. It's like, no, like this isn't a meme moment. This is like a really big problem. And so I'm very thankful to get to do that kind of work.
Yeah. If you grew up in LA, you already know about wildfires.
Yeah, it's not
That's
like that
and
was
how
new.
no, it wasn't. I mean, the consistency of them is getting pretty intense, but
Worse,
it's
and the
yeah,
damage is worse. And I mean,
yeah.
that's what this project is about. It's like, the ocean affects our climate, and
Mm-hmm.
like in such a significant way that if we don't actively change our day-to-day lifestyle or vote for people who believe in climate science and who
Mm-hmm.
want to change things, like, we have a very bleak, not to be negative, but we have a very, not even negative, it's realistic, we have a bleak future ahead.
No, totally. And I mean, it's if you don't know that by now, I mean, you're hiding under a rock. So I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
it's okay to talk about it.
yeah.
It's definitely a reality. So
Sometimes when I
yep.
think about it too much, it just makes me feel like I'm gonna explode. But yeah.
Well, I always, I mean, for me, it's kind of that double-edged sword because when I see my kids,
Yeah,
it could make me go down that path, but at the same time, I'm like, today is beautiful. They're beautiful. Like I get to have a smile on my face. I get to laugh. I get to have good food. I try to take stock of the things that I have and remind myself that we're pretty resilient as, humans, and, we're going to figure it out just like we have everything else. And you're right. It's really is just about getting people on board. And I think a lot of that is, like you said, getting the right people who are in charge of a lot of our policies to get on
yeah.
board. So,
I think
and this
it's,
stuff's great. These kinds of campaigns this all
yeah.
helps.
I think we're gonna figure it out, but what can I feel like sometimes it's such a big problem, and I've had
Mm-hmm.
this problem where I'm like, oh, someone else is gonna figure it out. This is not like, which, yeah, I'm not the person who's gonna solve the climate crisis, obviously, but to just educate myself and then make sure that I'm paying attention. Um, and make sure I'm doing small things every day, like not driving as much, uh, composting, recycling, voting for people, educating myself, not using electricity when I don't need it, like lights turned off, little things like
Yeah,
that. Um,
those things add up.
and then also buying from, more sustainable companies, especially fast fashion and all that is really bad. So for the environment. So just being like, uh, a conscious consumer and all that. But a lot of the problems are bigger, like the bigger companies, that. So it's good to like vote for people who regulate them and all that, and that's kind of what this campaign is about, and just
Yeah.
like keeping ourselves accountable.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I mean, it feels good because things can feel so overwhelming that you're able to contribute with your talent and, what you can. So it's not easy for everybody to do, other than obviously just being conscious of it. But it is
Right.
nice to have a tool like art to communicate those things.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe it's not enough, but it's like the way I can help in a personal way. So that's like what I always say is like, find the way you can help and like use that to your, like, use it as your strength. Even if you feel like the issue is so big, like we can all do little things in our own ways to help.
Definitely. um Ferry Utomo said, meme and comedy sometimes are the way to communicate with people and make people even care about it. I care about what happened in my country because of comedy. I can agree with that. It is, I think sometimes we can get a little sensitive with how things are maybe portrayed, but it's true. I think is however it's getting to you, however you digest it, and sometimes it's easier to do that through laughter, which I know is hard for some people, but comedy does allow us to speak about things that are really hard. Um, and it's definitely a different avenue. I think you have to. I think you have to be able to approach it from all different kinds of ways. But I know sometimes a meme can feel like it's making less of something. But you're right. I mean, sometimes that's how somebody finds out about it.
Yeah. No, I agree too. I think uh when I was specifically talking about the meme and stuff about last year, it was more like people going like 2021 sucks. We have wildfires now. And I was just
It was
like,
an easy thing to kind of just
I was
hop
just,
on.
yeah, I was just like, what? Like, it wasn't even like it. I was just like, how is that a 2021 problem? Maybe that's me being overly sensitive because I'm from California, but I was just like, you guys, like, this has been going on beyond this 2020 issue. Like, it's been
Yeah.
going on forever. So, and it's
Yeah.
getting worse.
Yeah.
But yes, I
2020,
agree.
you could blame everything on. That was the easy.
Listen, I agree with the comedy stuff. I do some like, well, I'm no like comedian, but I like to inject humor in a lot of my work too.
Cody Bear just had a good reminder. In 25 minutes, we'll be doing an artist spotlight. If you guys would like to nominate yourself or anybody else you know for the future artist spotlight, please feel free to fill out the form in the tab above in the chat. And also, if you are watching us on YouTube, come on over to Behance at b.net/Adobe Live. There, you guys can be in the chat and communicate with us, and we'll be there communicating back as well. You can ask Kelly any questions you want, or any questions about Fresco and how we're doing this painting drawing project for Create Waves and the Ocean Agency. So how many hours did you have to spend in between yesterday and today to get this drawing ready? Too many?
No, honestly, maybe 5.
Okay.
Maybe 5 or 4.
It's a little work day.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of, it's kind of like not mindless, but it's so like soothing that I don't really see it as like, I can't explain. I just was like, time was just going, and I was like, oh shoot, it's like 8 o'clock. Okay. And it's one of those things that I'm not really super conscious of as I'm doing it. So maybe like 5 hours, give or take. But yeah, it was fun. I was definitely avoiding other things that I needed to do just because I was having a good time drawing it. But
yes,
that's
literally
fine.
The art of procrastination.
Yeah.
That's definitely I definitely catch myself. I mean, just being a freelance artist, I constantly have 3 or 4 projects going at once, and there's always that project that I don't really want to do.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, kind of like, I probably shouldn't have done my whole work day on this other one, but I'm just gonna procrastinate over here on this line work.
That's essentially what occurred yesterday. But whatever, I had fun doing it.
No, it's great. It's great for us. I mean, we get to focus on this other stuff today, so that's awesome.
I know you had mentioned earlier to kind of mention some other projects I'm working on.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us.
So something that I haven't even it sounds annoying, announced, but something that I'm working towards, which I'm really excited about. I'm gonna have a solo show at an art gallery here, in LA called Junior High LA. It's a really awesome space in Atwater, Glendale area.
Okay.
Yeah, and
my really good friends live in Atwater.
Oh yeah, you're not too far from there. And it's on January 7th, and I've been working on that when I have a minute. And right now, I don't want to really say the title because I'm still working on it, but it's been really exciting to have the opportunity to kind of do whatever and just experiment. And I'm hoping to really play with, testing the limits of what I can do. And try different techniques and painting and, maybe fiber art. I don't know. I'm just like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this all gonna be traditional art that
no,
we're gonna be seeing? Is it gonna be a blend or?
I don't know. I mean, I've started like the reason why I'm like so hesitant to even mention it is because I have like 3 pieces ready and that's it. So it's like
You
talking
gotta
about
put the
something.
pressure on.
I know. And since I'm leaving for a month on
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I'm planning all my, like, I'm kind of in the planning phase where I'm going
Right.
to like kind of plan each piece and go when I get back, do the more physical work. Like, painting or fiber art or installation or something. I have so many ideas that I'm like, I need to
Mm-hmm.
just focus. But yeah, so with every project, I'm always like in the back of my mind, I'm kind of thinking about it, trying to think of ideas and all that. Just because I really want to make the most of it, because who knows when that'll ever happen again.
Yeah.
So
I love art shows. So,
yeah.
like I said, I worked in gallery system for a long time. So,
Yeah.
there's nothing beats going and seeing a solo show. Just to
Yeah.
have the space to really explore. Um, it's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm very excited, but also very anxious about it because I'm like, oh God, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Or like, what do I have to say? All the classic
Oh yeah.
feelings. But I think it's gonna be very cool, and I'm really hoping to like push myself to do stuff that I would have never done without this opportunity.
And
Um,
when is it again, or when's
it's
the projected date?
January 7th, so it's in a bit,
Okay.
but
Yeah, you got
to
time.
to me, I'm like, I have no time, but just because like time has been so, like, it's August and I cannot believe it.
I know.
So it's like, yeah, I have time, but like, do I, like it's I don't know. So I'm a big preparer, so I'm just been preparing and like randomly, like I was saying yesterday, if not dreaming in drawings, but if I have random ideas, I'll just open up my notes app, just
Mm-hmm.
write it out, and hopefully I can understand it the next day.
And would this be your first solo show?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Have you had
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I've had a couple in
Oh
the Bay
wow.
Area.
Oh
A few
cool.
years back. I just haven't had a chance to do a lot of fine art or personal art lately. I've kind of been focused more on the entertainment side of things.
Mhm.
But yeah, I used to do a lot of like laser etched acrylic paintings. I used to work at a stamp shop in Berkeley,
Oh
so I had
cool.
access to a lot of crazy tools. And um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just getting ready for a show and kind of creating a story, and
Yeah.
it's it's really like a narrative for people to step into. It's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited, but probably more so nervous than excited, but
Yeah,
that's probably.
that's I think once you start really getting the pieces together, it, it's not going to feel as crazy. But I know, and you're still in the preliminary stages, or it can feel pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I'm probably have a little bit like of imposter syndrome and a little
Oh
bit of
yeah.
like, oh my God, so much I have to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really been, I've known for a little bit, but I haven't really even been telling people, just because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Because for me it's like, like I said, for yesterday, like the longest time I didn't think I would be able to be an artist or do that full time. So the fact that
Right.
I'm getting to do a whole show myself is just like a wow, big moment for me. Um, Personally, just because like if you asked me like a year and a half ago, I would have been like, oh, I'd be still working in advertising in an office and making, decks and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a very weird, surreal, cool feeling to get this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. It's hard to explain to people that might not have that experience in their life or ever have it. It's really cool just for a gallery or just anybody to believe in you enough to give you a big space to have a show.
Yeah.
It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool.
All right, so where we're at here, we're just picking colors. We're kind of just going in, still creating this texture.
Yeah, so still just kind of creating this texture, and I usually like to later add maybe some more contrast with the water, but I'm gonna start going into so it's a little bit more interesting into the animals and fish, mammals.
Yeah, just skip over the whole process and get to the good stuff.
Yeah. Usually I do the water and then the fish, but it's probably enough of water at this moment.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're limited on time. You can't always show everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you can, it would be great. But obviously, I understand if you can't. But to see that kind of, if you can show some of that blending, that you were talking about, that would be awesome to see.
Yeah, here I'll do it now. So what I usually do is I started off with this color here. So I'll start off with my original color, and then I'll just go in my color wheel and just kind of pick a darker color. It doesn't have to be precise, and kind of start creating like some shading, and then I'll even go darker or even lighter sometimes, and I'll so just to create like a contrast. And then I go to not the vector, no, sorry. So I'll go to either like a smudge and I'll usually pick the same that I was using. And you can see it's just blending here.
Right.
And creates this kind of smooth looking kind of natural shading.
Nice. And so a lot of that texture that we see on the shell, is that going to kind of get smudged at the same? Oh, so then you go back.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I like to do it like not full, but it still has the texture on there. And that's usually like a last step.
Right.
And then I come back in and put some more texture in there, but it just gives it some dimension.
Tamika Groom says it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it can be hard. I think doing digital work, I think the hardest part is not doing too much.
Yeah.
Because you can do all the things. So really learning how to, like, what you need and kind of the minimum that you need to get the effect across. Especially with stuff like your work where it's very flat. It's really important kind of what textures you're using. Because so many people, there's all, you can do so much with rendering and different types of brushes, but I feel like sometimes when you limit yourself, you can kind of get the most out of it that way.
Right. Yeah. I try not to do too many fancy things even though I love the textures, I do keep it pretty simple and basic, just because I think it works best with the um, the style of drawing.
Right, because you've got so much going on with the line work that if you had so much going on with the textures as well, it could kind of compete.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just a heads up, in about 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the artist spotlight. And just let you guys know too, you can submit your own name or anybody from the community that you want to be spotlighted. So we'll do that in about 10 minutes. And if you're on YouTube watching this, come on over to Behance at b.net/Adobe Live. And there you can communicate with us in the chat. Cody Bear is the moderator today. But yeah, if you have any questions for Kelly or about the process or Adobe Fresco, come on over. And is Fresco free? Is that, or do you have to be?
You have to have CC.
Okay, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I'm so sorry, but I'm pretty sure you do need to have CC. I sign in through my Adobe account.
Okay.
But yeah.
And you can also use the Creative Cloud with this. Like you can save your stuff in the cloud.
Yep.
Cool. So then you can just bring it over to Photoshop if you want it.
Yeah. Super
pretty
easy.
Streamlined. Yeah.
Yeah. Very easy.
Yeah. I like now with the colors, I really do like that you didn't use black for any of this.
Yeah.
It's got it's a little more harmonious.
Yeah. Especially these busy drawings. Sometimes it's better to not make it too intense.
Right. You don't, it's still high contrast, but it's not, your eyes aren't bleeding kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Cody's saying that Fresco is free to use. There's only a couple tools that are required with CC.
Okay.
So
again, cool. I was just like, I'm so sorry if I'm wrong, but I use CC for it.
It looks like there's certain brushes like Kyle's brushes and some other things that you need CC to be able to get with the program.
Okay, that makes sense.
Anthony Jackson's wondering who's going to be in the spotlight today. And we have artist Luca Manzo from Aversa, Italy. So that should be pretty fun to check out in about 8 minutes or so. And again, Kelly, you'll have probably we'll do the spotlight for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll probably have another 10, 15 minutes afterwards.
Okay.
So if anything you want to finish up or show us, just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Anika Agarwal said, how does Kelly make sure to have a varied color palette in her work?
A varied color palette?
Yeah, not probably just, I guess, maybe you had kind of shown us earlier that you had used references from nature photography. I think you were pretty much using some coral photography, correct?
Yeah.
Coral reef photography.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the base for this piece.
Yeah. So to keep a very, I mean, again, like I'm a big collector of like photos and stuff like that. So just constantly looking around and grabbing, the eyedropper tool and using it on different kinds of, using the eyedropper tool whenever I can on different kinds of photography really helps create like a library of cool varied colors that I used in my work, or tried to at least. And yeah.
And we were talking about earlier as well is kind of collecting that stuff in Pinterest and kind of having your mood boards and other things. And it's kind of like a slow collection that happens over time that you reference often.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm very big on, Pinterest and adding new folders and new boards, and just kind of collecting. Even if I don't have a project in mind, I'm still just always collecting.
Yeah, I think, and as most illustrators or artists, I think that seems to be a common thing that most artists do. Is I think they're definitely collectors.
Yeah.
Whether reference or objects or other art, or you're always kind of open to being allowed to be influenced and inspired. And can you remind us again what the brush you're using for your base texture?
So it's a soft chalk in the dry media pixel brushes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oops.
And that's with default settings.
Yeah, it's I think that, it already comes with so many cool brushes that I haven't imported any new ones, which I could, but yeah, it's soft chalk.
So I'm looking at this, the junior high is the spot, right? So it's a not-for-profit community art space.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Have you done any murals or anything? Or
no,
anything
and
large scale? No.
I already have a plan to.
It's like your work would be beautiful on a big giant wall.
Oh, thank you. I've done murals, but not of my, like when I was a designer, like in design kind of stuff, but I haven't done a illustrated painted mural. So I'm definitely doing a mural when I'm there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I just want to. That's been like a dream of mine, is to do a mural. Someone give me a mural, please.
They're fun.
I want one.
Yeah, that was kind of part of my job when I was working at the gallery, was I would help out a lot with a lot of the street artists. So yeah, just seeing huge murals made all the time was pretty exciting.
Yeah, and that's usually like, did you guys usually work with a projector or anything, or?
It just depended on the person. I worked with this guy Ben Ein, and I remember we did like it must have been like a 50-foot tall mural with just like alphabet letters on the KFC and the Tenderloin.
Oh wow.
And then worked with Gaia. His thing was all kind of freehand, but just using reference off his phone.
Oh whoa.
Worked with Roa from Belgium, and he would just be painting with giant paint rollers and extensions. And so I would say most of the guys that especially come from the graffiti community, or those big painters, they beast it and kind of go after it.
I don't think I'd do that. I think I'd use a projector.
If you're doing really tight work and there are other people that's like, I want it to look like my sketch. I want it to look exactly like this.
Yeah.
I've done both. I've painted freehand and then done projector. And projector's kind of nice where you can just get a base, because you don't have to have the whole thing on the entire time, but like get all your little spots.
Yeah.
Especially for a gallery show, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, plus it'll be my first one, so I just want to make sure that
you don't want to mess up.
Nah, I don't want to mess up.
Okay. Get that one under your belt.
Yes.
Yep, we got about 1 minute here until the artist spotlight.
Okay.
So yeah, if you just wrap up what you're doing here so we can switch over in a second. Um, and again, all the artist spotlights we do are on their Behance profile. So we're on behance.net/Luca-Manzo. And he has got some pretty awesome work. It's like he's an illustrator, graphic designer, working out of Aversa, Italy.
Yeah. Is there a specific one you want me to click, or should I click any specific one?
Let's start off with the looks, what do we got, like a Trump Biden here? Let's go ahead and let's get right into it. I mean, right away with just seeing his stuff, for me, it would look perfect for this looks like editorial illustration.
Yeah, like the New Yorker. I'm sorry, this is taking a second.
But I mean, go ahead.
No, yeah, it does feel like a New Yorker, LA Times kind of feeling, very editorial. I also like when people out of the country get to kind of show their feelings about American politics, honestly.
Yes, I think it's very confusing for a lot of people. Yeah, I can't remember what state that is, but just the little balancing beam. Just this one little state is going to affect, the next 4 years of our future or longer.
Yeah. So I appreciate this kind of commentary from afar, because I'm constantly asking my family in France, like, what are you guys thinking about everything going on? And they're like, we don't understand. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, and Luca, I mean, he has a very direct way of telling these stories. Really cool, simplified graphics. Really nice use of textures.
Yeah. Let's go to his others. Maybe Murphy's Law. Illustration for Mad Maths. Yeah, here you can see he's using a lot of the textures, which is cool. And playing a lot with probably masking and selecting and adding textures to things.
Right.
Awesome. And oh, that's cool. You see his sketches, kind of his process.
And of course, the poor piece of bread is falling. Sauce down. I don't know, what's it? Egg, butter?
It looks like butter.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, it's definitely cool to show the process and kind of see how I'm not a big sketcher. I kind of dive in, but I love seeing other people's process, mapping it out, and kind of sketching things out for themselves. And even doing a black and white.
Right, where you see the tones and the values and making sure they're all working together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he has a really cool loose style that's very tight, right? Like everything's very much in its place, but he really captures the sketch really well. He doesn't lose that energy.
Yeah, really cool. Let's see the other stuff.
So it looks like a lot of these are editorial illustration for Mad Maths.
Yeah. And, again, showing the sketches and...
Oh, that's cool.
I like a lot of times when people kind of show their process, ideas. This seems like some ideas before he went into actually deciding what he wanted to do, some studies of the fruit.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Which I think a lot of, if you're doing a website of your work, I think a lot of times showing like what you didn't even go with is a really cool way to show your work and show how your brain is kind of working, which I personally enjoy.
even for, employers or anybody else that prospective clients, I think like seeing that as well. People want to see how your brain's working and kind of how you get to your final.
Oh yeah, I feel like kind of we were talking about that yesterday, like showing your client how you got there is always helpful because it shows that you were considering a lot of things and researching, and you didn't just pick the final choice just because, but you show them your process. And I feel like clients always do appreciate that. So always keep all your sketches and all that because they do come in handy.
We go to that Nike shoe.
Yep.
Do you see that? It looks like these are a series of dunk illustrations inspired by Nike's YouTube series. Thought these were pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's always great too, having these different colorways for the same illustration.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah, these are really beautiful. Really, really nice color palette.
Yeah, these are awesome.
And I'm curious, I wonder if this is just a digital representation of what it would look like on a wall, but very, very cool way to display it or present the artwork.
And another thing to think about, which I think is cool that he's doing, is that he's doing a lot of self-initiated work. And yes. That's another thing that I think as you're kind of becoming or starting illustrating, is not to just wait for work to come to you. It's just to kind of, be inspired by things you see and create your own projects, which he's clearly doing. And I think that's really smart. And I had a call. I don't know. Have you heard of Handsome Frank, the agency? I feel like everyone. It's like an illustration agency. Do you know Jean Julien and like Abby Lozing and
no, I'm sorry.
Whatever, it's fine.
Look them up. Yeah, I'll look them
up. But they, I had a talk with the man who owns it, and he said that, just illustrate everything in your, like, if you're not a food illustrator, just show that you can do it so a client sees you know how to do it. Right. So it's just something to think about. And I think about that all the time. Just showing what you could do and what you're capable of.
And look, this is even, let's see. It's an illustration from Mad Mass where the article deals with demographic development, the resources available to the planet and their management so that we can maintain a balance for sustainable growth for the future. It's kind of a great, simple way. Again, and I think this kind of relates to your work. It's a really simple, approachable way to kind of talk about heavy subjects.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot easier for people to digest and kind of get what's going on.
Yeah. And it's very, very editorial.
Yes. But really like the color choices and the simplicity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with make projects that you would want to make professionally anyways. Kind of manifest that destiny of, how you want to be as an artist or who you want to be.
Yeah, it's something I need to do better as well. Just like try doing something that's not really your style to just prove to yourself / potential clients that you can do it. Or like not even your style, but your subject. Yeah. Like so that they have a reference point and they're not just imagining for themselves, which is cool.
Yeah, this is another great one. If you can scroll to the top, this is another great example. Did a personal illustration of a robot that takes up the character of Mars Black Moon, wearing Jordan Mars 270, created by the son of Spike Lee, who plays Mars in the film She's Gotta Have It. So him finding these things that he loves or that he can illustrate and creating a project out of it and then taking you through his process. And I love that he displays it in different ways.
Yeah.
Just at the end where he's got it on that, like it's a print, with the print roll. It's really clever, really good. Yeah. That was awesome. Good job, Luca. Your artwork's awesome. Really glad to have this artist spotlight today.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, we can hop back. We got about, let's see, it's 11:10. So got about 15 minutes left before we got to wrap up.
Great.
So I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to show us or any tools or if we want to just kind of keep going at this thing.
I'm like a pretty basic illustrator. I can show you like my fancier things are probably more in design, but for illustration, I like to keep it pretty simple.
Yeah.
Oops, the screen. I just kind of treat it like I make, one layer of the drawing and the second layer is coloring it in. I can actually maybe finish this part up here, this little area, which is what I was mainly doing yesterday, which is I just kind of use this as almost like a scratch board. It's like instead of drawing, I'm erasing.
Yeah, which we had talked about yesterday was kind of an interesting way of drawing and how it's you're almost revealing something as you go instead of having to fill this page. It's almost like you're revealing it, and there's something easier about it. I don't know what it for the eye, it's something that is less overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, instead of starting at a like blank white, you have somewhere to start with color and go from there. So I guess now it's fully filled. No areas gone unfilled. Actually, I do need to go back to my other brush. Hard around variable. I do need to finish this turtle, and I'm just gonna go with my recollection of turtles, or maybe I should look at a turtle now that I'm let me see, turtle. Let me just look at a turtle real quick. I could probably make something up, but let's just try to be accurate as possible.
There's a lot of different kinds. But you probably a sea turtle of some sort.
I've drawn a lot of turtles, weirdly, but probably best to look at something. It's not going to be insanely accurate, but it'll be more than just me thinking what a turtle looks like.
Right.
Okay.
And again, just one more time, if you guys are on YouTube, always head on over to Behance, b.net/Adobe Live. That's where we can answer all your questions. That's where you can participate in the chat. And don't forget to stick around afterwards. Once we're done, we've got so many different more things going on each day. So yeah, come on over to Behance.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said there's other artists working on this Create Waves project as well.
Yes, there are. There are, I think, like 3 others. Okay. They're all on Adobe Gen Create. You can check those out.
That's right.
and we all pick different principles and stuff, but yes, there are a few others.
Very cool. Robert Wennerberg says, looks great so far, Kelly. Like the color palette. And he had mentioned that it can be a soft shell turtle. And Alicia De Leon Mendoza says, how long has Kelly been working with Adobe products?
Oh man, forever.
That's a good answer.
Probably since senior year of high school. So a long time. 2010.
Yeah.
2011.
2010.
2010, 2011.
All right. It's about 10 years.
Yeah.
Don't say that out loud.
It's been a while.
And can you just remind us where people can find you, Instagram or any kind of website, or
sure,
where people can look you up?
I'm on Instagram. I'm at by Kelly Malka, and I update that pretty regularly. And then my website is just kellymalka.com. And yeah, I have other things that I don't update as much, but I have a Twitter under by Kelly Malka, and I have a Facebook page under by Kelly Malka. Oh, and I have an Etsy shop as well.
Oh, awesome. Is that just also
it's it's just Kelly Malka. But if you look up by Kelly Malka, it'll come up. But
it should connect us to all those things.
Yeah, and it's all in my bio on my Instagram and on my website. Cool. You're connected to basically everything.
Okay.
And I'm leaving soon, so I am only going to have my shop open for a couple more days before I head out. Not even. I'm probably going to close it tomorrow. So anyone wants, if you want
go something, buy something.
Yeah. But hopefully in the next year, by the end of the year, I hope I'll have my second coloring book available. Still working on it as of now.
And is that available in your Etsy currently, the first one?
So I have all the physical copies are sold out, but I have the digital one available that you can print out at home.
Very cool.
So that's an option if that interests anyone. And it's print friendly, and
you could use that to practice your coloring too on your computer, or on your iPad.
Yes, and it's pretty fun. All right, turtle.
So we've got the turtle, we've got the shell. It's officially a turtle now.
Yep.
It's not a fat dolphin or strange fish. This is a turtle, folks. There's something dreamy about the artwork too. I mean, I kind of like that some of the fish, you're not really sure what they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's great. It adds a little bit of a surrealistic feel to it.
I never said I was a realistic drawer. I definitely take liberties in my artwork.
As you should.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who make beautiful, ultra realistic work.
No,
photographers who take beautiful photography. This is another realm.
Yeah, this is not that.
So I think we're about a minute away of start wrapping it up here. just kind of wanted to say thank you. And we've got Kelly Malka here working on her Create Waves campaign for Ocean Agency, working in Adobe Fresco, which has been great. I think for me, I haven't seen too much in it personally, so I'm loving watching all of this. Also, we just finished our artist spotlight, and don't forget to submit your recommendations for creatives to highlight for our next artist spotlight. If you guys want to stick around, we've got, let's see, the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge replays with Claudie, immediately followed by Adobe Live Game Show with Voodoo Val. So that should be pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows, it's my first time hosting, so this has been great. This has been so exciting. It's nice to have such good talent with us today. Yeah. So, well, I think everybody's excited to see this get finished.
Yeah.
Is this going to be posted somewhere where they can check it out, or?
I will be posting it, and I think Ocean Agency or Adobe Gen Create will also be posting it.
Awesome.
So stay tuned.
Yes. Stay tuned. And again, we're streaming on b.net/Adobe Live. And this is where you can participate in the chat. And stick around for the next one. I mean, again, this is something that Adobe does every week, and it's awesome. Great tutorials, get to meet so many different artists from all over, all different types of techniques and programs. Oh, and another thing, Adobe Live is now hosting live streamers on Behance. So that is awesome. So if you want to do some live streaming through your Behance profile, you can now. Very cool. Thank you, Laura. I had super fun doing the stream. She just says thank you for the stream, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you.
Tamika Grooms also says, yeah, great job. Yeah, thanks for having us. Robert Wennerberg, Chris Ballard, Cody Bear, thank you so much for moderating the chat. You're always great. Oh, we got to do awesome. So we've got about 3 more minutes, and we're gonna get some hair color. I like it. That's what we were all waiting for. And just right before you finish up, Kelly, yeah, I was gonna say if you could do a full pull back for everybody to see kind of where we're at. That would be great.
So this is where we're at. Without the color, well, the main color part. So you can see it feels very different when you add color. It feels a little less hurt. It hurts less on your eyes. But yeah, so you can just see that.
So you're going to probably put, let's see, you said we're going to fill all the rest of this thing in with color, and then you're going to go in with another layer on top, right, and do all the texture blending.
Yeah, probably some little blends here and there. And then I might just select the full drawing, this main layer, the outline, and add some texture on there, but maybe not. It'll depend when I kind of go in and make sure it feels balanced and all that, but it depends on how I feel feel when I get closer to the finish line.
Mm-hmm. And again, is this going to be there going to be any physical copies of this for people to get, or is that any plans for that?
Not as of now, but I probably would want to put it in like maybe make a coloring book page out of it.
Right.
But in terms of prints, not as now, but who knows? You never know. That's So maybe, but yeah,
All
maybe
right,
a
I'll take a
coloring
maybe.
book. Yeah, probably a coloring book print for sure, but that's about it. All right.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Well, yeah, Kelly, thank you so much for participating in this. It was a great 2 day stream. Um, yeah, we got to see your Create Waves campaign for Ocean Agency. It was great talking with you, finding out kind of what your story is and what you're inspired by. And hopefully we get to do this again, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And yeah, again, guys, stick around for the Daily Creative Challenge replays with Claudia, immediately followed by Adobe Live Game Show with Voodoo Val. And I had a great time. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Cody Bear. Thanks, Jacob, doing tech. Bye, guys. See you soon.